If there is one thing that has had a massive impact on my life in terms of being happier, feeling better, having better relationships with other people, it's this. This may not look like much, but if you actually follow through on it, your life will be massively transformed. And it's called the 7-Day No Complaint Challenge. Now, I know you're probably rolling your eyes at this idea because you're thinking, I complain all the time and I don't even realize I'm doing it. Don't worry. That was me too. But when I learned how to control my complaints, I started controlling my life again, and I became a lot happier. So here are 7 rules for the 7-Day No Complaint Challenge. Now, the first rule is you have to catch yourself complaining. And this is hard to do because we complain so much in a day without realizing it. So something that really helped me was every time I caught myself complaining, I would write it down. And by writing it down, I would make it more real and tangible in my mind. You can keep a tally on a piece of paper, you can put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and I would write down any complaint I had about anything. So this might be like, I'm so bored right now. I'm so tired. I'm so hungry. People are so stupid. Traffic is so bad. My boss is such a jerk. Whatever it is that is going on in your mind, just write it down. And you'll be surprised at how many complaints you actually have during a day. The second rule of the 7-Day No Complaint Challenge is you need to identify why you're complaining. So you've got to ask yourself, why am I complaining about this? When you think about it, a lot of complaints come from negative feelings. They come from anger. They come from frustration. They come from jealousy. So take some time to figure out what it is that you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. Because until you understand the root cause of your complaints, you'll never stop complaining. It's always going to be a knee-jerk reaction. So let's say, for example, you're complaining about someone cutting in front of you in line. Well, why does that make you feel bad? Well, it makes you feel bad because you're angry that they didn't respect your place in line. But then when you dig deeper, you start to realize, wait a minute, I felt angry and disrespected earlier today by my boss when he yelled at me in front of everyone else. And you start to realize that your anger is actually coming from this unresolved issue with your boss. So once you start digging deep and understanding where these feelings are coming from, then you can start to tackle them. The third rule of the 7-Day No Complaint Challenge is to find alternatives. So now that you've identified why you're complaining, now you need to find a different way of looking at it. If you want to master this skill, you need to learn how to reframe things and find the positives in any situation. Now, this is definitely easier said than done. A great exercise I learned from a book called The Happiness Trap is something called What Would It Be Like If? Where you take whatever it is that you're complaining about and you flip it around and you imagine what it would be like if you were grateful for that complaint. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're complaining about being stuck in traffic. What would it be like if you were grateful for being stuck in traffic? Well, it would mean that you wouldn't have been in an accident. It would mean that you got to see the beautiful sunset while you were driving. It would mean that you got some extra time to listen to your favorite songs or playlist. You got some extra time to call your loved ones. So when you start flipping things around and reframing things in your mind, you start to see that maybe being stuck in traffic isn't such a bad thing after all. So next time you're stuck in traffic, try out this exercise. Just say, hey, thank you for not being in an accident. Hey, thank you for getting to watch this beautiful sunset. Hey, thank you for getting to listen to my favorite songs. You might just find that you're not complaining as much and you're enjoying your drive a little bit more. Rule number 4 of the 7-Day No Complaint Challenge is to use positive self-talk. Now you may be thinking, this sounds kind of cheesy, but trust me, it works. So positive self-talk is exactly what it sounds like. Every time you catch yourself complaining, replace that negative thought with a positive one. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, say, wow, I'm so grateful that my body got me through another day. Instead of saying, my boss is such a jerk, say, I'm so lucky to have a job where I get to learn new things every day. Every time you catch yourself complaining, stop yourself and say a positive affirmation. Now I know that you might roll your eyes at this, but I promise you, If you do this for 7 days, you're gonna feel amazing. And what's cool is that when you say positive things to yourself over and over again, eventually you start to believe them. And when you start to believe them, they become your reality. And that is why positive self-talk is so powerful. The 5th rule of the 7-day No Complaint Challenge is to practice gratitude. And this is one of my favorite ways to stop myself from complaining. Anytime I feel a negative emotion coming up, I say to myself, stop, pause, and remember 3 things you're grateful for. And I think about it. I think about my amazing partner. I think about my beautiful home. I think about my health. And when you focus your attention on things that you're grateful for, it becomes harder to complain. So practice gratitude. Write down every day 10 things you're grateful for, and I promise you your life will change. The 6th rule of the 7-day No Complaint Challenge is to surround yourself with positive people. Your friends and your family shape who you are. They have an enormous influence on your life. So if you have friends that are constantly negative, constantly complaining, you're going to be a negative person too. That's just human nature. It's called social proof. So find people who are happy, find people who are positive, find people who are driven. And when you surround yourself with these types of people, you'll start to adopt their behaviors too. The 7th and final rule of the 7-day No Complaint Challenge is to reward yourself. Now, the whole point of this challenge is to change your habits, to change your behaviors. And the best way to do that is to reward yourself for following through. So at the end of each day, ask yourself, did I follow through on the 7-day No Complaint Challenge? If you did, reward yourself with something that you love. Maybe it's watching your favorite TV show. Maybe it's reading a good book. Maybe it's spending time with your loved ones. Whatever it is that brings you joy, make sure you reward yourself with it. And if you didn't follow through, just pick back up the next day and try again. It's all part of the journey. Now, the 7-day No Complaint Challenge is just one of the many experiments you can run on yourself to help you become a better, happier version of yourself. There are lots of other fun psychology experiments that you can run on yourself, and I talk about them in this video here, so check it out. If you want to level up your life, click that video on the screen now.